And now, the SleepHawk Worldwide podcast. Here are your hosts, Brandon Staton and Tyler Hansbrough.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to the SleepHawk Worldwide podcast. Sleep Talk here with the Big Hawk.
What's up, everybody? It's the Big Hawk. It is an absolutely beautiful Sunday night. It's getting a little bit nipply out, but we are in the studio and we are about to bring you one of the best podcasts that we're going to give you the best episode we've ever had to date. I'm excited. Sleep, let's go.
Yeah, definitely the best podcast in the last week for us, coming straight at you. Great week to be a Tar Heel for a number of reasons. Great week to be Tez Walker. Bad week to be NCAA. Bad week to be, what's his name? Sean Payton. We'll get into that a little bit. NFL Sunday. You know, there's some good teams out there. There's some teams that stink out there. We'll try to pick that apart. NBA preseason started. My man Jonathan Kuminga just went off last night. I stayed up to watch the first half and then didn't quite make it. And then, of course, he had a better second half than he had first half. So it was good to wake up to that news. Before we get started, we're going to do something that's become a ritual here, SleepHawk Worldwide. We're going to T-shirt shout-outs. And it seems like it's really working. And we have a real special T-shirt shout-out I'm going to give along the way here. But I got some names here, Big Hawk. I got some names. And I don't, guys, if you're a long-time listener and if you're buying a T-shirt, I'm sure you are. We ain't all that phonetic around here. So if I mess up your name, it comes from a place of love. Palmer Huffstetler. I think I got that one right. Shout out Catherine Walker. Thank you for good, nice, easy. John Kent. That's another easy one. Layup. Courtney Millett. Kind of a layup. Jonathan Kirsting. And Tim Bailey. You guys are easy names. Actually, I guess we only had Huffstetler. Seemed like it was going to give me a run for my money. Thank you guys. And the one that I want to really shout out is my man Steven Curl. Okay, guys, Steven bought a small, and then he emailed his wife. He was so upset about it. He couldn't even. I don't even think he could see the screen through. His just discontent. And was like, hey guys, like his wife said, hey, my husband accidentally ordered a small. Can he have a large? And I'm like, to be honest with you guys, like getting these damn things in the mail and stuff ain't that fun or like easy. So, and I damn sure don't want to get one back, right? And have to figure out how all that works because I don't really, guys, believe it or not, behind closed doors, back here in the distribution center, it ain't all that high tech. And so I told him, I was like, hey man, just put the small one on, take a picture, and tag us on Instagram, and I'll give you one. Or then I thought about it. I was like, I wouldn't want to do that shit. I would not put a small on my fat ass and take a picture of it. Not, hey, Steve, I don't know who you are. I ain't saying you body shaming you or anything, but I wouldn't want to do it. So I said, well, I got to give him option B. And I said, hey man, just subscribe to our YouTube channel if option A doesn't work. And needless to say, we got a screenshot. He subscribed to the YouTube channel. So shout out, Steven. Appreciate you, man. Got a large coming your way. First thing tomorrow, maybe.
Shirts feels great too, by the way. I talked to Big Dan.
Oh man, I'm telling you guys.
Special type of cotton. We got this.
Sourced it locally, farm to table. It's sustainable. It definitely when you're dead and gone, if you decide to get buried in this sumbitch, it will literally turn into it will biodegrade. It will mummify your body as well as produce 5 trees. I think is what it was, maybe 6. I can't remember. Inside the casket, outside. So high quality shit, man. We spared no expense. So anyway, thank you guys. Seriously. Like we joke about it, but it means a lot. You're wearing a t-shirt. Still ain't seen one of those t-shirts out in the wild. But I wore it to the football game one time and I was like, man, I'd be one person, just one fucking person, and be like, hey man. No, they didn't know me. They didn't know SleepHawk Worldwide, but we'll get there. Tez
we
is
appreciate
there.
It. Yeah. Hey guys, seriously, thanks for buying those shirts. It really does mean a lot to me and Sleep because it allows us to do more with the podcast. We're actually, if you haven't followed us on YouTube, check it out. Follow us. We're going to start doing some more things on there, especially when it gets around the basketball season, try to break some things down. So subscribe and yeah.
Oh, you will not be disappointed. Subscribe. You don't even use YouTube. Just log in there. Make you an account for one sole purpose. That's to follow the pod. It'll help us out. Tez is there. Tez is back. All right. I was there Saturday against Syracuse. It was one of those games, man. I was saying to you before we got started here, it's a trap game, right? Everybody's gearing up for this Miami. Could be 2 undefeateds, could be 2 top 15, maybe even top 10. It looked like teams coming in, depending on how things shook out. But you had to get by Syracuse, right? And, Syracuse was 4-0. I think the week before. They just lost the week before. They came in. They had, I'll be honest with you, man, their uniforms were slick. They came in there. I was like, damn, man, all right. Good thing we got Tez here to rile everybody up. Beautiful day. Just beautiful. 3:30 kick. And we absolutely kick off to the final whistle, just walloped them, dude. It was great, man. It was one of the very few games I've experienced that mattered, right, against a worthy opponent where you could sit back, relax, and just damn enjoy the game. It was awesome. Great all around. Before defense was incredible. Offense was just clicking. Tez got out there, got in the mix a little bit, hyped everybody up. So glad to have him back. He came out on the field carrying a North Carolina flag. They did not. The one axe to grind though. They should have gone deep to. Should have rolled him out their first play and just gone deep to him. They didn't. So if you need any help with play calls, Mac, just tap in and I got you covered next week. But he obviously he was on a snap count and the game itself we'll get into in a little bit. But the lead up, right, guys, we hadn't really chatted about it really since they freed Tez. So I'm gonna let Big Hawk kind of touch on his thoughts about this whole rigmarole from the NCAA and some of our theories on how all this came about.
Firstly, Tez was on a snap count. I didn't know that.
Well, it certainly seemed like he was because he didn't play every down. Yeah.
Hey, it's good to have him out there, and obviously not breaking the game down. But before we get into what I think about the NCAA statement and everything that's going on, I thought Drake May had a breakout game, and a lot of people have been waiting for him to put up waiting for him to have unbelievable stats. And to me, the thing is like, hey, I think people should actually place a lot of value in winning. And sometimes stats are good. You can have guys that lose a lot of games that have great stats. But then at the end of the day, you didn't get the job done. Like you go out there to win games. And there's got to be a lot of value in winning. What Drake has done so far this year, I would rather have, dubs in these unbelievable stats. But he did it both on Saturday. And I think a big reason for that was he had more weapons. And Tez, a lot of people said, hey, I watched the game. He didn't really have a crazy game, but hey, he was another weapon, and at times he's a decoy. So it's good to have him out there. But also, I will say, let's jump right into it, Sleep. My thoughts on the NCAA. First of all, I didn't like the statement because it was more about them defending their stance instead of, hey, ruling Tez eligible. Okay, and first of all, they haven't been transparent. Okay, and then they just come out and say that UNC has provided us with new information, and that has allowed us to rule Tez eligible. If we would have had this information, he would have been eligible a long time ago. Well, I read the statement that Bubba Cunningham, UNC's AD, put out, and he stated, I'm going to just, say what he said. He said the university submitted all the necessary information and documentation as it was made available to us at the time, and we still believe Tez met all the standards for the waiver in early August. And the university also said, hey, we really didn't provide you with any new paperwork. So this is my whole reason why the NCAA can just, I want more transparency. And my thought about this, and so we talked about this before the podcast, is the Attorney General for North Carolina sent the NCAA a long letter talking about how this is not legally right to not allow Tez to have his eligibility and pretty much threatened him with a lawsuit. To me, that's what moved the needle and made him eligible. And the reason I say that is because the last thing the NCAA wants to do is go to court and have to be transparent. and provide all the information that UNC provided them with. Now, why? Because we would all know that there is something going on behind the scenes that the NCAA does not like Tez or UNC for some weird reason. There is something going on that they do not like, and they ruled him ineligible for who knows what. They won't provide us with that information. But Sleep, if they would have gone to court, they would have provided us with absolutely everything and been, it would have been fully transparent. And now they say that UNC is providing new information. Well, what that does, in my opinion, this is me, pure speculation, takes the blame off the NCAA. If they were to pursue legal action and take them to court, it makes them not liable, in my opinion. So it puts the blame on UNC. And that's, Sleep, I didn't really like it, but hey, it was more about defending the NCAA, their statement, than allowing a kid, Tez, to play football and the student athlete live a better life. And the NCAA always says they fight for their students, which they did in this case. They went against what they stand for. And that's what made me so mad from the beginning. And this is why it's been so disrespectful and so tough to even stand up and defend the NCAA, because a lot of their decisions make no sense. And their timeline that they work on is absolutely ridiculous and slow. What I'm going to say is this kid transferred in January. He should have never been allowed to transfer in January and then be declared ineligible in August. That timeline does not make sense. It's not right for the kid. You should never let a kid transfer in January and then declare him ineligible in August. That is a huge timeline. And the kid would have never even transferred. That's my whole issue with NCAA and what they, this whole Tez Walker situation, Sleep.
Yeah, the whole spin they tried to put on it, which was basically saying, hey, this is UNC being hypocritical because all the coaches were in on this, right? This is what everybody wanted. We're just doing what everybody asked us to do. It lacks context, which is everybody asked you to enforce the rules and police this to some degree. And the way that you decided to do that was put certain rules in place, never mind after the fact, right? Never mind that these rules weren't in place when he transferred in, but the rules had exceptions, which everybody is fine with, which everybody agrees with, which everyone with any common sense understands are necessary to make this fair. If things happen that happened to Tez and that have obviously happened to others because the NCAA ruled them eligible, then there are exceptions to the rule, right? And basically they just said, oh, these guys are hypocritical because blah, blah, blah. No, we're not hypocritical because we're not just asking you to let the kid play because he's coming to UNC. We're asking you to let him play for a litany of reasons that you are, just sort of conveniently ignoring. And then it all culminated with this statement. And I thought it was funny because the statement was so petty by the NCAA to point the finger. It was an opportunity for them, quite frankly, to spin and say, after careful evaluation, all they had to say was, hey, some new stuff was made available to us that helps us understand, blah, blah, blah. They didn't say that in the manner that they, I think, intended to. Instead, they felt the need to point the blame as if anyone's going to side with the NCAA. As if them writing that statement was going to change anybody's mind. And then I think the funniest part of it was nobody at UNC really, except the fans, eventually it started, everybody's like, what? What are you guys talking about? Who wrote this? Right? Was this guy drunk? Was this guy on the sauce at, 2:00 in the afternoon? Nobody that read the thing really got pissed about it. Mac Brown said, hey, appreciate him doing the right thing. Cunningham, hey, thanks for doing the right thing. A lot of other people, just kind of took the high road because it was just it tells me that there had to have been, and listen, I told you this before. We've been getting on the fringe of politics from time to time here, and Josh Stein is a Democrat attorney general running for governor, endorsed by Roy Cooper. I think that guy knows where the cameras are on for sure. I mean, what a fall in your lap. Now, first of all, I don't give a shit if whoever your least favorite politician is in that position. They're gonna write that letter, right? So this is I'm not trying to this isn't a sleep dog endorsement by any means. But I think he did the right thing, right? I also think that if I was in his position, I'd be like, well, there's a lot of Carolina fans in this state. I'm running for governor. I'm gonna write this letter. I think he believed in it for sure. I just thought it was kind of funny on that backdrop. Like, bang! If you're a politician, wow, this is something awful nice to fall in your lap. But the language was just flatly worded. I mean, it was like, listen, here's boom, 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 A, B, C, D, E. Like, not only is what you're doing wrong, but it could be illegal. And there was like there was I don't even know if you could call it thinly veiled. It was pretty blatant. It's like, you better do this. You better do the right thing, or we're going to make you do the legal thing. And I don't think you want to put your shit out on Front Street. Last thing I think is, I think that ultimately there always is in these litigation, like areas where there's attorneys involved, and hell, we had a lot of them involved, is that, there was some sort of concession made that basically said, I think the NCAA was grasping at straws and they wanted some sort of out. So I think there was something that went on, something that had to have happened that allowed them to factually say they got information this time that they never had before. But again, I don't trust that their statement doesn't lack some context about why that quote unquote new information exists. It's just ridiculous. Like, nobody trusts the NCAA. So nobody believes it. And I think at the end of the day, everybody's just happy the kid's back. And I thought it was awesome that by and large, everybody was just like, all right, dude, yeah, whatever. Who gives a shit? Like, we're going to focus on what's ahead of us and what should have been happening all along, which is this kid playing.
Yeah, and Sleep, we got to say, we had sources on the inside at SHWW.
Oh, we had them.
We had knowledge that we weren't the situation was very fluid. We'll just say it like that. There was a lot of moving parts. And there's a lot of different ways this thing could have turned out. We know that. We had sources again. But I will say, I do love the way that Mac Brown handled this. And he came out.
Start to finish.
Yeah, start to finish. He did not back down from the NCAA. Usually, some young coach or somebody that didn't want to ruffle any feathers, they might have been like, hey, sorry. But he fought for the kid, got the kid eligible. And he rallied a lot of North Carolina fans and made them feel like the NCAA was doing something wrong, which they were. And he let that out publicly. And I'll tell you what, he had a lot of backing, and it really made the NCAA look bad, which they still are. But I love the way he handled it, and I also love the way the school didn't back down either. I think, sometimes you got to fight fire with fire. And I think they did a good job. But ultimately, the goal, we got him eligible. I'm excited he's playing, and I'm looking forward to watching him the rest of the year. I think this allows, Drake to have more weapons, and, he's a big-time receiver, so I'm pumped about him.
I got to call it like I see it on one thing with this, which is, I get why did it take the NCAA this long, but why did it take the AG or UNC or whomever so long to nothing changed. What new information, existed? So, maybe there was just the conversations, the expectation, maybe there was the understanding from the university that, hey, we don't really start getting into the meat of the schedule. Although we've played 3 worthy opponents in those first 3 games. I am a little disappointed that, given the preponderance of evidence, that this didn't happen sooner. Now, I don't guess you can force the attorney general to write a letter. I don't guess you can. But, hell, they had 5 or 6 attorneys that wrote a statement on this. And, I'll be flat out, man. I do think that the university, at the university level, they should have moved faster on this. I don't know if it could have, right? I don't have any information. So by the way, anybody at the university level listening, I'm over here in the peanut gallery. I get that. But it certainly feels like, in hindsight, that that letter is what everybody's been saying from day one. There's nothing in that letter that was anything different than every average fan already surmised on their own. So, look, they kept fighting for the kid at the program, in the football program, big time. Absolutely. And I know there was a lot of people, speaking of sources, a lot of people behind the scenes that were ready to charge through a cinder block wall over this. And I don't know where the hang up was happening and that the process was slowing down on our side. Again, it's easy in hindsight. Open and shut case is what it looks like to everybody, and maybe there's something we don't know. Yeah. But again, right, everybody's happy that he's playing and all this sort of stuff, but you can't help but wonder, like, this 3 games this kid ain't gonna get back. So anyway, he is back though, and I thought he played great. I thought he got into the I think I was just expecting to go there and him just bang, number 1 guy right out there, and they got him. It took him a little while. I know everybody was antsy, kind of like, where's he at? He finally comes out and everybody's all pumped. I can't see, dude. So at one point, somebody runs out there and buddy, they're down there on the other 20-yard line. I'm like, here it comes. And it's like, Mary's like, dude, that's number 5. That's not him. I'm like, oh God. All right. Yeah. Sorry guys. False alarm. Can't see that good. So everybody was on the edge of their seat waiting on him, and he came out and, got a catch, and old Jones Angel shout out. Every time Tez caught the ball, he just put a little in his like call and everything on the public address announcing thing. So it was cool, man. It was a great game. Like I said, he came charging out of tunnel with the flag. You pretty much knew if we don't win this game, it just wasn't meant to be, right? Like we ain't a team of destiny. And shit, man, we hung 40. More importantly than hanging 40, we only gave up 7. And it didn't even hell, they got lucky to even get that.
Yeah, our defense has been really good this year. And I know we
been
took
a lot
big
better.
knock. Yeah. We last year there was a lot of criticism facing the defense, and it seems like they stepped it up. They're playing really well. But Sleep, I will say, as an athlete, sometimes emotions can be so high. I can't imagine what Tez was feeling. And sometimes it's best, sometimes our emotions, we want, hey, no, throw me the Hail Mary, 60-yard pass, let me get that touchdown, first play. But sometimes it's better to let the game come to you and, just kind of ease into it. But I'm with you. I wanted him just to go off and have like a Calvin Johnson type game. It would have been the perfect story for sure.
Well, now we sort of got there, right? One game this podcast has been somewhere between Big Hawks, hey man, got to take it one game at a time, and my like, hey, this is the year, right? And we're sort of like taking it one game at a time, and it's turned into a hell of a year. And here we are, right? Miami, they just announced earlier, 7:30 kick, prime time. Now, the only one that really screwed that part was Miami, and I'll get into that in a second. But the AP poll came out yesterday, as you're listening. Carolina's up to 12, all right? Notre Dame got the doors blown off by Louisville, which jumped from 25 to 16. Louisville's undefeated. So Notre Dame falls from 10 to like 17 or something. I think they're behind Louisville. USC went to 3 overtimes against Arizona. Barely pulled it out. Well, they're still ahead of us, and that really kind of pisses me off. But they're undefeated, right? Colorado had a big game. They won. There's a couple. So what we've got is, we got a game against Miami. Miami, I think, is 25th. They stayed in the top 25. We're 12. They're 25. Miami's a good team. I think for those of you that don't know, been hiding under a rock. Something happened where Miami's got the ball in the fourth quarter late, and they don't take a knee, and instead they run a play and they fumble the ball. But they're deep in Georgia Tech territory, like on the 26-yard line or something. And then Georgia Tech engineers a drive 97 yards in 24 seconds, like basically a Hail Mary at the end of the game. And damn if they don't win. So it was going to be 2 undefeated teams, ACC, prime time. That'd have been a big game. And instead, right, it's slightly diminished because Miami lost, but it sure is big for Carolina. This would be the biggest UNC game in a long time. I hadn't checked the ticket prices yet, but I bet they're up there.
Sleep.
Yeah.
So Miami did not take the victory formation. They didn't take a knee. They decided to run a play and end up losing. That is bad coaching. That's a bad coaching decision.
Yep.
I don't know why the hell you would not just take a knee and win the damn game. The whole goal of playing is to try to win the game. But anyways, it's a lesson learned the hard way. Miami is back. They've got us in Kenan. Kenan's going to be rocking. I'm pumped about this game. I wish Miami was a little bit undefeated. I don't really like it in any sport when a good team takes a loss right before you play them, because that means to me right now we are riding high, and everyone's starting to get pumped. And Miami's they're fucking sorry guys, mom. Dad, sorry.
Oh no, your parents.
My dad, hey, dude. Dad, I'm working on it, man. I dropped that bomb.
Mr. Hansbrough, I told him, man. I said, hey, do as I say, not as I do. That's what I told him.
he honestly, he did talk to me about it. But
we should. I mean, I've tried to chill out. We had somebody just straight up told us, hey, man, this thing would be great if you didn't cuss so much. And I was like, man, sorry. I try not to, guys, but this is how people talk in real life.
All right, so. Sleep. They should have taken the knee. It's a lesson learned the hard way. But Kenan's going to be rocking. And the reason I don't like playing teams that are really good and they just take a loss because they get hungry. They're mad. They come here. They're going to give us our best shots. So we better be ready. And the fans, I'm not sure the last time Kenan's had a game like this. And so it may have been when we beat Notre Dame with Cam Sexton, the great Sexton.
It might have been.
Yeah.
The all-time legend. He ain't walking through that door, but I tell you who is, though, is Drake May. That was a good game. Yeah. I'll never forget that night. I mean, I've forgotten most of that night, but there are parts of that night I'll never forget. And that's one of the few things that is why I still associate with Cam, you know?
Dude.
Because he's
done
he's done me a few things. Yeah.
Dude, it was a big time.
I bet Cam remembers. Yeah.
I remember being in La Residence. Cam was
the French Riviera, baby. We were there.
Oh yeah, I saw Cam. I picked him up, took him right to the bar. It was a great night. It was a good win, man. It was a good times.
We were well hydrated that night.
Oh yeah, guys. Hey, listen, we hydrated to the wazoo. But this is gonna be a big time game. I'm excited about it. So hopefully we get this dub. And, if they do, then it's a great time to hydrate after this game because they're going to really, you're going to use a lot of energy. So you need to refuel and take care of your body. So Franklin Street's going to be popping. I'm excited for Chapel Hill.
Guys, I'm going to be honest with you. 7:30. As excited as I am about it, it's going to be cold. It's going to be a little chilly out there. Hell, the game ain't going to be over until midnight, right?
Last
so
call.
In the 40s probably. And I got to be out there. I'm going to have to go to bed early on Friday, probably get a nap in on Saturday, drink coffee post 5 o'clock on Saturday, and probably drink water. I ain't going to drink no water after 5, but I don't know how we're going to
have a base too.
Make it.
I would have food in your system as well, guys.
A couple glizzies. We got to find us a good place to eat. The problem is there's gonna be a zoo out there. Gonna be a lot of people. I can't wait, man. I've been looking for. It's like this is the game I've had on my calendar. Hoping by some alignment of the universe that we could get here in this position, and here we are. And this is the crazy thing about it. I think I can't even remember. I mean, the South Carolina game we won pretty handily. I think the App game was the closest one. We beat Minnesota just fine. Syracuse, just throttled them. So, getting here hasn't been that stressful, right? Now, of course, some would argue the toughest part of our schedule, I think wisely argue, the toughest part of the schedule is still ahead. But I don't think we played any layups. And we've looked good. And, when you got Drake May, you got a chance. I don't care. And even if you're down late, if you're down a half, if you're down big, man, he looks great. He's poised. He's under control. He doesn't make every throw. I've talked about this a lot. I saw throws in Syracuse, and of course, I'm sitting here. I couldn't throw the ball. I couldn't hit the wall across the room. But I'm just sitting here and saying, that one, yeah, missed the guy a little bit on that one. He misses some throws, but it doesn't bother him. It doesn't like phase him at all. Like he doesn't get upset. I mean, he's just like, all right, shit. And then like, then I get all nervous. I'm like, shit, man, like you hit that guy in the chest. That's first down. Now it's 3rd and 8. Next thing you know, bam, 12 yards. First down, and it just doesn't seem to be. He's unflappable, man. And that's a big thing for a team that hadn't been there before, having a guy that just acts like he has. So, I mean, dude, I'm the biggest Drake May fan. Like, I'm one of the biggest Drake May fans going. So, this is a special time for Tar Heel football. You're not going to get this shit every year like Alabama, Georgia, LSU. You better pay attention to this. You better be there on time. Saturday is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, and
we got
the
plenty
kid
of time
keeps
to
his
get
composure.
there.
Yeah. Get there early because you ain't gonna find a parking spot close.
Good Lord.
No, but he does keep
soccer
his composure.
fees trying to park.
Man, that was ridiculous.
Hung 50 on us there at the totem match or whatever, totem pole, whatever they're called.
Wrexham. Haven't watched the game
somebody's
since.
bank account trying to fucking get there. Yeah. Yeah, I wonder how they're doing. I wonder how their record is. God bless. That was the worst.
Man,
they could play flag football out there, and I'd go see that before I'd go see another one of them soccer games. And everybody, I never
understand it either, Sleep. But
I tell you, but sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I got a segue on soccer.
No, tell us about soccer.
You watch this David Beckham thing on Netflix?
No, hell no.
I'm telling you, buddy, don't turn it on then, because you won't turn it off. It's excellent. It is excellent. And then, of course, right, it's a sports one, right? And sports ones are like a gimme. There's a few things, like, guys, I haven't been married a little longer than a year, but there's some things I've learned, right? Which is like when you can't, watch something because you're like, if I watch this and she finds out I watched it without her, I'm going to have questions to answer, right? I was like, this is a safe one because it's sports, it's soccer. And, and then, she got on there and it showed that like it was still in progress or something. I think, I can't remember, paraphrasing the story. And she said, you watched the story about the Beckhams, plural. And I was like, I'm thinking in my head, I'm like, oh boy, how am I going to talk my way out of this one? And I was like, I just froze. I was like, yeah. And I was like, she said, you didn't think maybe I would want to watch the story about the Beckhams? And I was like, well, it's not about the Beckhams. It's about David Beckham and a lot about soccer. But I did find it fascinating. You got to watch it. If you haven't watched it at home, it's one of the better sports documentaries I've watched in a while because I found it was just like more about fame. And like I didn't realize, gosh, man, like David Beckham, I feel like the dude's like my age. Maybe he is, but he was really at his peak when I was like early college or maybe even high school, part of high school, when he was like really coming up. So I wasn't, that close to it. And I just didn't realize what a big star he was. I mean, I thought I knew, but watching it, man, it was really, really good. And talks about his whole, I think you would really like it.
I'll have to check it out. I'll watch it.
It's interesting.
You never know.
The best part though, and I'm not giving this away because this has been all over the web, but the best part is Posh Spice is on there talking about how she's working class. She's like, we came from working class families, and she's talking about it. And Beckham must be going and getting in the shower or something while she's on, the camera. And he sticks his head out and he says, be honest. And she's like, I am being honest. He said, what kind of car did your dad drive you to school in? And she's like, she's like, it can't, it doesn't matter or that's a difficult question. He's like, no, what kind of car? And blah, blah, blah. And it was this back and forth. And finally she's like, a Rolls Royce. And then he just shuts the door and goes off. And it was just hilarious because they have this really great, like, I think, relationship where they banter with each other and she talks shit, calls him on his bullshit too. I thought it was really funny. It's great. Anyway, that's the closest soccer as I'm gonna get. I did find myself thinking like, damn, I might turn on a soccer game. Then it ended and football came on. I was like, yeah, this is my speed.
Football. Yeah. Sleep, you won't find me watching a soccer game, but I will check out that Netflix documentary for you and learn about it.
It's good. Must say it's good. Anyway, NFL Sunday, speaking of, we'll get on that and a little NBA and we'll get out of here. I think the best part, gosh, Sam looked fine, but damn if Washington did. They just got smoked by the Bears on Thursday. And guys, this is just who we are as Commanders. And the season's over. I'm gonna tell you that right now. It's not a knock to Sam. I hope it's not. But 2-3. I've seen this movie before. We're gonna go I think we play 17 games now. 8, I don't know, 6 and whatever. We'll be 4 games under 500 by the end of it. Eagles, Cowboys, everybody else take off running. Just the Bears, come on. But aside from that, I think my favorite thing that's happened so far this NFL weekend, I'm watching Dallas, San Francisco, Brock Purdy, touchdown to Kittle earlier. My favorite thing that happened is the Jets walked into Denver and smoked old Sean Payton and Danger Russ at home after he talked all that shit about Hackett.
Mm-hmm. So,
was Zach Wilson at QB?
First of all, I will go to the Broncos and Jets. First of all, Nathanial Hackett, I was listening to Scheffner talk about the situation, and he said that he has never met Sean Payton. And to me, I just find it a little odd why he's decided to talk so much smack about Hackett. And then you had Rex Ryan, who has the whitest teeth in all of TV. Guys, if you see this guy on TV.
Maybe anywhere.
It's unbelievable. I mean, so white. But anyways, Rex Ryan was talking about how after he beat his ass, he wanted to meet him in the parking lot. And it's just such a football move. And that dude is so funny. I love watching Rex Ryan on TV. He is just
I love Rex Ryan.
Pure comedy. But I will say Sean Payton really hasn't done that much of a better job. I mean, their defense is horrendous. Russell Wilson he's been a little bit better this year. And I know, hey, we've got to burn Russell at all costs because
it's hard to get much worse,
I agree with that statement too. I'm not the biggest Russell Wilson fan, and I know you're not either.
I despise that guy. If he got traded to Washington, and I was worried that might happen. If he went to Washington, and Washington is bad. Now, of course, now we got Sam. I'll ride with Sam all day long. But if something ever happened and they needed a quarterback and they went and got Russell, look, man, there's something about a sports team, right? I don't know if there's anything that could possibly ever happen that will make me root for any other team ahead of North Carolina. Same with Washington, same with the Mets. I mean, the Mets will piss you off and all this stuff happens. If Russell Wilson went to Washington, I would never watch another Washington game. That's how much I don't like that guy. I thought they were going to draft Daniel Jones, and I was going to literally write a letter to the Dan Snyder at the time. I was like, if you draft Daniel Jones, I will not be your fan anymore. Not that you care, but I just want to feel heard. And
he hasn't had a great year either. The Giants just suck. They're the worst team in the NFL so far. And I know Arizona's trying to tank, but the Dobbs quarterback situation, he's kind of actually. Watching that.
He wants it too bad. Yeah.
He what?
He wants it too bad. I mean, Dobbs. He's a grind. He knows this is his shot. He's like, y'all can tank if you want to, buddy, but I'm fighting for my life in here.
I like it, and also Kyler Murray's coming back at some point, and I'm going to be curious to see if they play him or if they stay with Dobbs.
I don't think they will.
You think they'll play Kyler?
No, I don't. I think because there's a clause in his deal that if he gets hurt, they owe him some guaranteed money. Mm-hmm. And I just don't think that Arizona – I don't know the specifics of it, but I don't think if Mike Lombardi talks about it a lot. And there's some sort of clause that if they roll Murray out there and he gets hurt, they owe him. They're on the hook for like $50 or $60 million. And then at the end of this year, I think there's some sort of trigger. I don't know if they can cut him. I don't know what the deal is, but it just makes really no sense for them to play him.
Yeah, and I'm not the biggest Kyler Murray fan either. I wasn't too thrilled about some of his attitude, especially when they did the contract. It said he had to watch film and actually enjoy the game. It was kind of odd.
Part of the job.
But to touch on your Commanders, and I know Magic Johnson came out and just trashed you guys. I didn't know he was part of the ownership either. He kind of went.
Yeah.
It's a Ron Rivera, and I know he's got a good story. Like he beat cancer, came back. Yeah. But at some point, you guys have to start winning, or you have to think about making a coaching change. And I don't know how long you guys can just stay as a, hey, 1 week we're going to be really good, the next week we're just going to be really bad. I mean, the Bears. I mean, Justin Fields looked like Joe Montana out there, and had a great game. Probably got his confidence back and earned him another contract. But the Commanders sleep. I wouldn't give up on them quite yet. They got some pieces. I love how Sam Howell's playing. I got him on my fantasy team. He's putting up good numbers regardless of how bad they played on Thursday. He still put up some good numbers, gave me a decent fantasy showing. So I got to tip my hat to him. It's never about winning the ball games. It's about putting up big-time fantasy numbers if I have you on the team because I don't really –
That's right. Yeah, I don't give a shit, but wins don't count in fantasy.
Exactly. But, that's just my whole Sunday thing, our football.
Yeah, their defense is really what's letting them down now. And, they kept – it seemed like the Bears just kept running the same play because on the broadcast they put this big square up in the top left, and it's like every time DJ Moore gets the ball, he's like in that square. And I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, this is like beginner Madden. And, like, they're running the same play over and over again, and it just keeps working for 30 or 40 yards. And at a certain point, like, I think Jack Del Rio's the defensive coordinator. Is like, bud, you might want to, take a guess. I think they might be going over there. You know what I mean? So,
I think that's
they're pretty tough.
The only place that Justin Fields could throw the ball is just that one direction in the field. Yeah. And so they kept running the play there. I'm curious to see what happens with him too. He's taking a lot of heat. He's had a roller coaster. He's had a good game, and he's had horrendous games prior. So traditionally, I like the tall quarterbacks that throw. I'm not the biggest fan of short quarterbacks that take off running. I've never been a big fan of that. But Justin Fields a high pick. There's a lot of hype surrounding the Bears coming into the season, and they haven't met expectations. There's new management. They've changed coaching staff multiple times. Justin Fields was supposed to be the guy that turned the franchise around. Hasn't been that this year. Been very disappointing after coming big late last year. And I don't know, it just kind of feels like the media and the fan base is starting to turn.
Oh, yeah. And it kind of the one thing I was going to say when you're going on about the coaching stuff, it's funny because, Rivera, I just think, players I think love him, and I get that. But it's funny because I always hear, the stuff about coaching, and it's like, you talk about the Belichick coaching tree or whatever. And it's like, if you go back and look at all the coaches that have come through Washington, Shanahan, Kyle Shanahan, McVay, guys won Super Bowls. Mm-hmm. And the Commanders couldn't keep a coach if they kidnapped him and chained him into the basement. So I don't know. I don't know where they're going to find to keep one, but everyone they try to hire ain't any good for a long time. Or we never win anyway, I should say. But so we'll see. At least we're not as bad as Denver, in my opinion. The Giants, in my opinion. The Panthers just look today. But the Panthers are just abysmal. I feel bad for Bryce Young. If I was Bryce Young, I'd have one of those. I would kick my shin on the back of a shopping cart tonight and just turn up injured for a couple weeks because they're gonna get him hurt, man. They're so bad.
I think he's gonna be hurt regardless. I think he's too small.
Yeah, I hate to say it, but they got nothing.
And sleep. When I watched the game, I looked at somebody's like, Bryce Young's this little. He looks like if somebody out of Honey, I Shrunk the Kids in a football game. And Sleep, it just seems like Sleep still got that cough, guys.
I got that long. It's what's it called? I forgot what it's post-viral cough. I'm shaking it, man. But damn, it's a long time.
Man, there's some stuff going around, fellas. Take care of yourself out there.
Got my Ricolas. I'm also drinking beer, which probably ain't helping it.
No, it's got to be. It's got to. You'll get over the cough soon. So what do you think about Bryce Young?
Nah, he ain't it. No way.
Yeah.
If I was the Panthers, I'd be tanking and I'd draft. Here's the thing. This is the crazy part. Teams are – the quarterback is so important. So important on every game. I mean, every team. If I'm the Panthers, and it sure looks like – I don't know if they've won one game. They might have. But it don't look like they're going to win many. And if you got a shot at getting Caleb Williams or Drake May, God, you got to take them. Like, I mean, maybe you can trade Bryce Young. But that's the thing is like you got to keep hitting the quarterback button until you get one right. If you're a bad team, in my opinion, but they won't. You know, they'll take a left. What is it? A left tackle, offensive lineman. If they got the number one.
Yeah,
pick.
but those linemen can last a long time, and to me, you're going for a lottery ticket.
Right.
I haven't been the biggest fan of the way the NFL teams are handling the quarterback craze, but that's just my thoughts. I mean. So here's the other thing.
Mm-hmm. You just look at Jordan Love and really look at what the Packers are doing. I mean, now Love isn't Bart Starr yet, you know, but he sat back for 3 years. And who's to say? I don't think anybody thought that, except maybe Packers fans, that Jordan Love was like the second coming of Joe Namath, right? It's like he's all right. I think he's good. I think he's got the potential to be good. I think he stayed in college for a couple of years. He's checks all the boxes, and then you put him in the system. And granted, not everybody gets to play behind Aaron Rodgers. I get that. Mm-hmm. But I think the Jets saw it. The Jets were like, wait a second. Like this Zach Wilson kid, like he makes some throws. Like he's got like some moxie. Like a few things he can. So why don't we pump the brakes a little bit? We got the opportunity to go get Aaron Rodgers and put him behind him for a couple of seasons. Now, of course, you could stay. It didn't work for, I don't think you can just draft me and put me behind Tom Brady and all of a sudden I'm going to become somebody good. But I do think that the formula of putting a rookie quarterback in a situation where he doesn't have to start immediately in his rookie season is a positive. I mean, even with Sam Howell. Like Sam Howell didn't start, I think he started the last game. But like you just look, and he played 3-4 years in college. And you just kind of look at how much more often that seems to pan out. But I think what happens is teams hope to catch what they've got in San Francisco, and you've got a rookie quarterback, the most important position, on a budget. You got him on a rookie contract, and you got to start using him before that second contract comes along, because that second contract is going to be, if he's any good, it's $200-300 million. Yep. What the hell? The Giants paid Daniel Jones like 130 or something, 180. Like, you kidding me? Mm-hmm. So that formula to me seems to work. And when you just roll these guys out there from day one, I don't think any college quarterback should be a day one. I just can't remember a day one starter. Hell, Peyton Manning threw like 28 interceptions his first year in the league. Like, I just don't see it where a guy rolls out and is a starter day one. I never see that working.
Yeah, and you kind of see Baker Mayfield, I think, was the first pick in the draft. And he's finally starting to come around, but it's taken him some years. And I think what you do is you take some of these young quarterbacks, and a lot of times, you look at Mitch Trubisky, who I think is a very talented player. And maybe if he would have been behind, let's just say, a Peyton or an Aaron Rodgers or Brett Favre, someone like that, for a year or two and kind of learn and let them, mentor him, or just let him watch how they practice, prepare, learn plays, and all this other stuff. I think there's a lot of value to that. And who knows, some of these guys that these teams pick and then just all of a sudden throw them out there and they have some bad games. You got to have a lot of confidence and a lot of belief to throw pick after pick as a young quarterback and still maintain optimism and not play timid and scared. Johnny Manziel was one of those guys who was a top pick, kind of dwindled out. And, there's some other issues with him as well. But I haven't been a big fan of it. It's It is a lottery ticket.
Confidence is a real thing, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And confidence is a real thing. You go in there and it's the same way in basketball. You know, you see it. I see it with Kuminga all the time, right? Like, and I know nobody cares about Kuminga, but he's a kid that like is young. He's impressionable. The confidence matters because you have to. I don't care how good you are. I always feel like there's some blend of self-doubt or like delirium, right? You're either a guy that's really good and doesn't quite believe it, or you're a guy that's not as good as you believe you are. And occasionally you get guys that are as good as they know they are, like Kobe and LeBron and probably Tom Brady and, you know, you name it, those guys, right? They sort of stand alone. But in general, I think you've got the guys that have little confidence issues, and maybe they work hard and they do all these things and they don't quite, you know, they don't quite get there because of some other, you know, I think Mitch was in a bad situation, for example.
Oh, yeah. The whole city.
Look at Brock Purdy.
Yeah.
Brock Purdy kind of reminds me of Mitch Trubisky and the man. I'm not a quarterback evaluator, but they seem like very similar builds and similar styles and similar sort of skill sets. And you look at that situation and you look at Mitch's situation and pick anybody else. I mean, there's probably some other guys that would have made it if they'd started somewhere else or had a bit different situation, or maybe some guys that wouldn't have had they not, you know, been able to either be put into the right situation and or ease in behind somebody that knew what they were doing. But
absolutely, I agree.
We'll see. Quick note on the NBA before we get out of here. NBA preseason just started. Nobody cares, especially preseason. Sleep Dog does. Jonathan Kuminga last night, 24 points, 8 rebounds, 4 assists, 1 block, 1 steal, 5 turnovers, one of which was a pass you probably saw on TV where he actually made a good pass, but Steph Curry wasn't in the game. So passed it to him out of bounds. It's kind of a funny highlight. But I'm telling you guys, got to watch out for JK this year. I mean, I ain't going to get 24 a night because I don't think Steph, Clay, and some of the other guys even combined for 24 minutes. But if he gets some burn, man, it's going to be fun. NBA guys, the in-season tournament's happening this year. That's the part that like I knew a million times over, and they were talking about it during the broadcast, and I was like, oh, yeah, I forgot about that. So that's in like October, late, maybe October, November. So that'll be really interesting. Or maybe it's later. Maybe it's November, December. I can't remember.
The playing game's going to have to be later than October. When's the first?
The in-season tournament.
When's the season?
Not the playing game. The season. Yeah, you're right. It's season starts on the 24th or 26th this month.
Right around the corner.
So you're right. I think it's late November, early December, I think is when it's actually earlier in the season. I remembered hearing it and I was like, that's earlier than I thought it was. But I still don't quite understand it because I read about it and then I forgot. But anyway, we're about to have full-on sports. Yeah. I mean, Carolina football's killing it. NFL is on. NBA is coming. Carolina basketball is coming. Guys, this is about to get cold outside, and we're gonna have plenty of shit to stay inside and do. So I'm very much looking forward to it.
Guys, I cannot wait. NBA, always drama. Looking forward to the in-season tournament, and it is getting cold out there. So bring your jacket. Come to Kenan next Saturday.
Buy 2 T-shirts. They're better in layers. You got anything else, Big Hawk?
Stay safe.
Stay safe.